Have you ever felt the pressure of living up to someone else's greatness? Elijah and Marcus Carter stepped off the school bus, the towering silhouette of Westfield High School looming ahead. The brothers had just transferred mid-semester, and anxiety twisted in their stomachs. Their father, Isaiah Carter, was a legendary football star whose name echoed in stadiums nationwide. Their uncle, Tyrone Carter, had been equally renowned, retiring only last season after an illustrious career. Yet now, standing before the gates of their new school, the weight of their heritage felt almost crushing. "Ready?" Elijah asked quietly, glancing nervously at Marcus. Marcus nodded, adjusting his backpack straps. "As ready as I'll ever be." Inside, the corridors bustled with activity. Eyes flickered curiously toward the new arrivals, whispers following in their wake. "Who are those guys?" one student muttered. "Transfers," another replied dismissively. "Just some nobodies." Elijah clenched his jaw, but Marcus nudged him gently. "Ignore it. We'll prove them wrong." The brothers settled into their first class, trying to keep their heads low. Midway through math, whispers behind them intensified. "They say their dad's some football legend," sneered a voice belonging to Trent, the school's star linebacker. "Probably all hype. They don't look like much." Elijah bristled, but Marcus placed a steadying hand on his brother's arm, signaling patience. At lunchtime, the brothers chose an empty table, trying to avoid further confrontation. But Trent and his group approached confidently, smirking and sizing them up. "So Carter boys, huh?" Trent drawled sarcastically, folding his arms. "Think you're special because your daddy played pro ball?" Elijah met Trent's eyes defiantly. "We never said that." "You don't need to," Trent scoffed. "People like you always think you're special just because of your name." Marcus stepped forward calmly. "We're not looking for trouble. Just let us eat." Trent laughed loudly, deliberately drawing attention. "See, fellas? They're already chickening out. Big names, small hearts." Laughter erupted around them. Elijah felt anger surging, but fought to maintain control. Marcus shook his head silently, leading Elijah away to avoid escalating things further. That afternoon during PE, Coach Anderson gathered everyone for football drills. He eyed Elijah and Marcus curiously. "You boys planning on trying out for the team?" "Yes, sir," Marcus answered firmly. The coach smiled knowingly. "All right, let's see what you've got." As practice began, Trent deliberately tackled Elijah roughly, sending him sprawling. "Welcome to Westfield, superstar," Trent mocked. Marcus quickly helped Elijah up, whispering firmly, "Show them through your game, not anger." From then on, Elijah and Marcus transformed on the field. Their movements were agile, precise, explosive. Elijah, as quarterback, displayed astonishing accuracy and strategic intelligence, while Marcus, a wide receiver, caught every pass thrown his way, making acrobatic leaps that left spectators breathless. Gradually, laughter and mockery turned into stunned silence. Even Trent watched grudgingly impressed, his mocking expression fading. Coach Anderson blew his whistle sharply, eyes wide with amazement. "Carter brothers, that was extraordinary. You boys clearly have football in your blood." Elijah glanced toward Marcus, sharing a knowing smile. Their first battle had been fought on this practice field, and they had emerged victorious, at least momentarily. However, as practice ended, Elijah noticed Trent huddled with teammates, his expression dark with resentment. Marcus followed his brother's gaze, reading the scene clearly. "We made an impression," Marcus murmured, "but we're not done yet." The brothers left the field, the cheers of teammates echoing faintly behind them. They knew today was only the beginning. Ahead lay bigger tests, deeper prejudices, and an intense struggle to prove that their talent wasn't merely inherited, it was earned through their own determination and resilience. As they walked home under the fading sunlight, Elijah finally spoke, determination resonating clearly in his voice. "We'll prove we're more than our last name." Marcus smiled quietly. "Together, we're unstoppable." Neither realized yet that their greatest challenge was just around the corner, waiting to push them to limits they had never imagined. The Monday after tryouts, Westfield buzzed with excitement. The football season opener against their rival, Jefferson High, was only a week away, and students eagerly speculated about the new lineup. The bulletin board in the gym hallway displayed the final team roster. Elijah and Marcus scanned it quickly, their names shining in bold. Elijah Carter, starting quarterback. Marcus Carter, starting wide receiver whispers turned to outright chatter. Did they really bump Jonah and Kevin to second string? For those new guys, the resentment was palpable. In the locker room, the tension hung like static. Jonah, last year's backup quarterback, slammed his locker shut. "You haven't earned anything here, Carter," he muttered. Elijah met his glare calmly. "Then we'll earn it on the field." Practice was grueling that week. Coach Anderson pushed everyone harder than usual, likely aware of the friction in the team. Elijah didn't miss a single throw, and Marcus caught everyone, even the impossible ones, diving across muddy patches with unwavering focus. Despite their excellence, Elijah and Marcus weren't included in locker room banter, post-practice snacks, or even group drills. They were isolated, ignored, but never outplayed. "Let them talk," Marcus told his brother as they walked home one night, shoulder pads slung over their backs. "They can either run with us or be left behind." Meanwhile, their father Isaiah kept a silent but supportive distance. He showed up late to practices and watched from the bleachers, never offering advice unless asked. One evening after a particularly tough session, Isaiah finally approached. "You boys are doing good," he said simply. Elijah wiped sweat from his brow. "Feels like we're carrying your shadow more than our cleats." Isaiah chuckled. "My shadow only exists if you walk behind me. Create your own light." That hit Elijah hard. He didn't want to be known as the son of Isaiah Carter. He wanted to be Elijah, respected for who he was. Game day arrived like a storm. Jefferson High had crushed Westfield the previous year, 34-6. The crowd was massive, the stadium buzzing with tension and curiosity. First quarter, rough. Jefferson's defense hit hard, and Westfield's offensive line struggled. Elijah took 2 sacks. Marcus was double covered. Second quarter, still no score. Frustration grew. Halftime. Coach Anderson paced like a general. "They want you to break," he barked. "They expect you to give up. So what are you going to do? Prove them right?" "No, sir," the team shouted. Third quarter began with a snap. Elijah dodged a blitz, spun left, and spotted Marcus breaking free. He launched the ball, spiraling beautifully through the air. Marcus leapt, caught it midair with a twist, and landed in the end zone. Touchdown. The stadium erupted, and it didn't stop there. Elijah orchestrated a comeback drive, calling audibles like a veteran. Marcus danced through defenders. The brothers moved like one body, one mind, unstoppable. By the fourth quarter, Westfield led 21-14. Jefferson made one last push, tying the game. With 9 seconds on the clock, Westfield had one final play. Elijah looked to Marcus. No words needed. The ball snapped. Elijah rolled right. Jefferson closed in. At the last second, he launched the ball high. Too high, the crowd thought. But Marcus soared, higher than anyone imagined, snatching the ball just as he was hit midair. He landed hard in the end zone. Touchdown. Silence. Then chaos. The crowd screamed. Teammates rushed the field. The Carter brothers had just led Westfield to its first win over Jefferson in 7 years. In the locker room afterward, Trent approached them, not with sarcasm, not with disdain, with respect. "That was something else," he said, then extending his hand. "You earned it." Elijah and Marcus exchanged a glance, then shook his hand. Respect wasn't given, it was earned. But little did they know, their greatest test, one that went beyond football, was yet to come. Have you ever realized that your greatest opponent isn't across the field, but deep within the hearts of the people watching? The Monday after Westfield's victory over Jefferson, Elijah and Marcus walked into school to a sea of applause. Their once silent classmates high-fived them in the hallways. Teachers gave approving nods, and even Trent clapped them on the back as if they'd been best friends all along. But not everyone celebrated. That afternoon, Elijah opened his locker to find a piece of notebook paper folded in half. The handwriting was jagged and angry. "You don't belong here. Football is our game." His hands trembled. He showed the note to Marcus, who stared at it silently before crumpling it up. "They're scared," Marcus said coldly. "Scared that 2 black boys from nowhere just took their spotlight." They brought the note to Coach Anderson, who read it slowly, jaw tightening. "This isn't just locker room talk," he said, voice low. "It's hate. and it has no place on this team or in this school. The administration launched an investigation, but no one came forward. The school gave a vague announcement about respect and unity, but the damage had been done. The brothers realized something. For some people, no touchdown would ever be enough. That realization hit harder than any tackle. They kept showing up, kept practicing, kept pushing, and then came the announcement. Westfield had made it to the regional championships against Briarwood Academy, the #1 ranked team in the state. Briarwood had a reputation. They weren't just undefeated, they were unshaken. Their quarterback, Bryce Holloway, was a golden boy with college scouts lined up like paparazzi. His father was on the school board. His name was printed on the back of his cleats. He was untouchable. When Elijah and Marcus arrived at the pregame field briefing, Bryce strolled up with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Carter boys," he said smoothly, "heard about your big win. Impressive. For a warm-up." Elijah stayed silent, but Marcus stepped forward, calm and sharp as steel. "You talk like it's already over." Bryce smirked. "It is. We play real football over here, not charity case drama." It wasn't just a game anymore. It was a reckoning, game day. The crowd was massive. Local news trucks lined the parking lot. Scouts filled the bleachers. Isaiah and Tyrone Carter sat quietly near the 50-yard line, sunglasses on, expression unreadable. From the first play, Briarwood came out swinging. Their defense hit hard. Their offense sliced through Westfield's line like paper. Elijah took hit after hit. Marcus was triple covered. By halftime, Westfield trailed 20-7. In the locker room, silence hung thick. Coach Anderson stood in front of the whiteboard, speechless for the first time. Then Elijah stood. "I'm tired," he said, "but not from playing. I'm tired of people thinking we don't deserve to be here. We didn't get carried to this championship. We fought for it." He turned to his teammates. "Maybe some of you didn't want us on this team. Maybe some of you still don't. But right now I need teammates, not doubters, because I'm not walking back onto that field unless we do it together." There was a beat of silence. Then Trent stood. "I was one of those people," he admitted, "but not anymore. Let's win this, for us." Second half. The change was instant. Westfield's defense dug deep. Their offensive line bought Elijah time. Marcus found space and began dancing through Briarwood's elite defense like a ghost in cleats. Elijah completed passes that had no right-finding hands. Marcus caught them like gravity didn't exist. Touchdown, interception, another touchdown. The scoreboard blinked, 21-20. Westfield led. With 1 minute and 16 seconds left, Briarwood surged forward, fierce and desperate. Bryce led them to the 10-yard line. Field goal range. They were seconds from stealing it. Then on third down, Westfield blitzed. Elijah the quarterback, read the play and dove into Bryce's path. He knocked the ball loose. Fumble. Marcus recovered it. Pandemonium. Westfield took a knee. Game over. They had done the impossible. After the game, a reporter shoved a mic into Marcus's face. "You just beat the state's best team. What do you have to say?" Marcus looked into the camera, sweat dripping, breath heavy. "I have one thing to say to every kid who's ever been told they don't belong." He paused. "Make them remember your name." Weeks later, a special segment aired nationwide. Blood, Grit, and Brotherhood, the story of the Carter boys. The narrator spoke gently as clips rolled. Elijah's throws, Marcus's catches, the final touchdown, the locker room speech. And then came the expert commentary from Dr. Camille Bryant, a sociologist and former athlete. This isn't just a football story. This is a story of defying generational expectation, challenging systemic bias, and proving that talent isn't inherited. It's earned, refined, and revealed under pressure. She paused before her final words. The Carter brothers didn't just change their team. They changed the way people see young black athletes, not as shadows of legends, but as legends in their own right. And as for the note Elijah received weeks before, he kept it, framed it, because it reminded him of how far he'd come, from silence to roar, from being doubted to defining destiny. And if you were there that night, you would have seen two boys walk off the field, not as their father's sons, but as champions who built a legacy with their own hands. And they didn't just win a game. They won respect for themselves, for each other, and for every kid who's ever been underestimated.